Good day, ma'am. I am Jovel Sagusay from BCHM 3B, and this is my chapter 17 entitled Special Topics. So before we proceed to the report, here's a list of the learning objectives. So first is to discuss the various special lines affecting the tourism industry. Second is identify situations and problems where these special laws may be applied of as a solution, and identify some tourism establishment that implement as well as not implement this special law. So first one is the senior citizen law. So in Republic Act number 9257, also known as the Senior Citizen Act of 2003, is a Philippine law that aims to expand the benefits and privileges given to senior citizens in the country. This law recognizes the rights and privileges of elderly individuals and provides specific provision to enhance their quality of life, promote their well-being, and ensure their active participation in society. So, senior citizen or elderly shall means any residents or citizens of the Philippines at least 60 years old, and in addition, the Department of Tourism has issued Memorandum Circular number 2006-2, which directed all DOT accredited restaurant or hotel, tourism inn, apartment, pension houses, resort and similar lodging establishment, sports and recreational club center, museum, galleries, tourist land, water, and transportation operators to grant 20% discount on prices of goods, admission fees, and service to all senior citizens who shall avail such good as service and or use of said establishment. Next is the anti-terrorism. So in Republic Act number 9372, also known as the Human Security Act of 2007, is an anti-terrorism law enacted in the Philippines. Its primary objective is to strengthen the national security, prevent acts of terrorism, and protect the rights of and safety of individuals. So, in this regard, a police officer or law enforcement official may, upon written order of the court of appeal, listen to, intercept, and record with the use of any mode, form, kind of type of electronic or other surveillance equipment of intercepting and tracking devices, any communication, message, conversation, discussion, or spoken and within word between member of the juridically declared and outlawed terrorism organization associated of group of person or any person charged with the suspected of the crime of terrorism or conspiracy to commit terrorism. Next is the Consumer Act. So in Republic Act number 7394, also known as the Consumer Act of the Philippines, is a comprehensive law enacted to protect the rights and welfare of consumer in the country. It established that the standard and guidelines for the fair trade, business practice, and consumer transaction to ensure that well-being and empowerment of consumers. Next is the cultural minorities protected areas, wildlife and heritage, and cultural presentation. So in Republic Act number 8371, also known as the Indigenous People Rights Act or EPRA of 1997, is a landmark Philippine law that recognizes and protects the rights of indigenous people or IPS or indigenous cultural committees or ICCs in the Philippines. Next is our Republic Act number 9072, also known as the National Caves and or Caves Resources Management and Protection Act, is a Philippine law enacted to ensure the management, protection, and conservation of cave and cave resources in the country. So, cave means any natural occurring void, cavity, resist of or system of interconnected passage beneath the surface of each earth of within the cliff or land is naturally formed of man-made. It shall include any natural pit, sinkhole, or other. The term also includes cave resource, but not any bog, mine, tunnel, aqueduct, and other man-made excavation. Cave resources include any material or substance occurring natural in caves such as animal life, plant life including paleontological and archaeological deposit, cultural artifact, or product of human activities or sediments, mineral, and spillages and spillings. Next is the Republic Act number 9147, or also known as the Wildlife Resources Conservation and Protection Act, is a Philippine law enacted to protect and conserve the country wildlife and their habitat. So wildlife means wild from the variety of flora and fauna in all development stages, it including those which are a captivity or are being bred or propagated of environment and natural resources shall have jurisdiction over all. The department terrestrial, plant, and animal species, all turtles rather, and tortoise, and wetland species, including but not limited to crocodiles, water birds, and all amphibians and dugong. Now, on the other hand, the Department of Agriculture shall have jurisdiction over all declared aquatic critical habitat, all aquatic resources, including but not limited to all fishes, aquatic plants, invertebrates, and all marine mammals except dugong. Next is Law on Intellectual Property Rights, or the Republic Act number 8293, also known as the Intellectual Public Code of the Philippines, is a primary law that governs intellectual property rights in the country. It provides legal protection and enforcement mechanism for various forms of intellectual property, including copyrights, trademarks, patent, and trade secrets. So, the law of intellectual property rights is of important in ensuring that the rights of investor of machine, equipment, and gadgetry, author or publisher materials, composer or musical composition, originator or ideas, concepts, model, and system, artist or designer or logos, artwork, diagram, and design are protected. Next is the Anti-Child Abuse Law, or the Republic Act number 7610, also known as the Special Protection of Child Against Abuse, Exploitation, and Discrimination Act, is a Philippine law enacted to protect the rights and welfare of children and prevent their abuse, exploitation, and discrimination. So, accordingly, children below 15 years old of age shall not be employed except where the child worked directly under the sole responsibility of his or her parents, guardians, and where only member of his or her family are employed, provided that his or her employment neither endanger of his or her life, safety, health, and moral none impair his or her normal development. Next is the Anti-Prostitution Law. Under the Article 22 or 202 of the Revised Penal Code in the Philippines is titled Vagrant and Prostitute, and addressing of offenses related to prostitution and vagrancy. So a woman is considered as a prostitute when she habitually indulges in sexual intercourse or lascivious conduct for money or profit. Hence, one sexual intercourse with a man for money or profit does not make a woman a prostitute. Several intercourses with different men does not make her prostitute if there is no evidence that she indulged in sexual intercourse for money or profit. Sexual intercourse is not absolutely necessary. Lascivious conduct is sufficient. The penalty for committing prostitution is imprisonment of or fine or a vote of in discretion of the court. Next is the Anti-Pornography Law. Under Article 201 of the Revised Penal Code in the Philippines is titled Immoral Doctrines, Obscene Publication and Exhibition and Indecent Show. So this article addresses offenses related to obscenity and pornography. So this offense is any of the form mentioned is committed only when they're in a publicity. The word obscene means something offensive to chastity, decency, or delicacy, and the test of the obscenity is whether the tendency of the matter charged of obscene is to deprave or corrupt those whose minds are open to such immoral influence and into whose hands such as publication may fall, and also whether or not such publication or act shock the ordinary and common sense of men, and indecency is an act against the good behavior and just delicacy. Next is the Dangerous Drug Act, or the Republic Act number 9165, also known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Drug Act of 2002. Is a Philippine law enacted to address the significant issue or illegal drugs in the country. It aims to protect the welfare of the public, especially the young, by implementing comprehensive measures to prevent the production, trafficking, and abuse of dangerous drugs. So it is further declared the policy of the state to provide effective mechanism or measure to reintegrated into society individual who have fallen victim to drug abuse or dangerous drug dependence through sustainable program or treatment and rehabilitation. Next is the Anti-Smoking Law, or the Republic Act number 8749, also known as the Philippine Clean Air Act of 1999, is a Philippine law enacted to protect the preserve the country's air quality, minimize air pollution, and promote sustainable development. So it seeks to recognize the right of citizen and guarantees enjoyment of the right of breathe and clean air. Smoking inside a public building or an enclosed public place include public vehicles and other means of transportation, or in any enclosed area outside of one private residence, a private place or work, or any duly designated smoking area prohibited. This provision shall be implemented by the local government units or LGU concerned. Next is the Anti-Smuggling Law. In Section 3601, or unlawful importation, any person who shall fraudulently import or bring into the Philippines or assist in so doing an any article contrary of the law, or shall receive, concealed by sale, or it is a matter facility and transportation, concealment or sale of such article after importation, knowing the same to have been imported contrary law, shall be guilty of smuggling. So, smuggling is committed by the person who first in the Philippines any article contrary fluently import of bring into the law, assist in so doing by article contrary to the law. Third is receive, concealed by sale in any matter facility the transportation, concealment, or sale or such good after importation, knowing that the same to have been imported contrary to law. Next is law on violence against women and children. So, in Republic Act number 9262, or also known as the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004, is a Philippine law enacted to protect women and children from acts of violence, particularly within the context of domestic and intimate relationship. Next is discussion of law. So the act which constitute violence against women and their children include the following. So first is physical violence, which refers to acts that include bodily or physical harm. Second is sexual violence, which refers to an act which is sexual in nature committed against the woman of his child. It includes but not limited to forcing her to watch obscenity publication and incident show of forcing of woman of her child to do indecent act and or make film thereof. Next is law and human trafficking. So in Republic Act number 9208, also known as the Anti-Trafficking in Person Act of 2003, is a Philippine law enacted to address the issue of human trafficking, particularly the trafficking of women and children. And Republic Act 9208 specifically criminalize trafficking for the purpose of exploitation. The punished overt act include trafficking under the guise of arranged marriage, adopt sex, tourism, prostitution, pornography, or the recruitment of the children into armed conflict. So according to John F. Kennedy, the right of every man are diminished with the right of one man are treated. And that's all about my chapter 17. Thank you.